Scott Shuttleman Phillips, Music from the Moon. There is a national songwriting competition. Alan Little, who is a musician and songwriter, but is not allowed to be in the competition because you're way too close to it.
Right,
but that means, but you wrote a song anyway.
Yeah, sure did.
So we're going to hear that coming up a little later. I think are people getting giddy about this? I mean, you guys have been working in and around a lot of the people involved in this. This is a big deal. Absolutely. I mean, we're talking 50 years of...
Absolutely.
Since we walked on the moon. For those who don't believe we walked on the moon and they thought, that O.J. Simpson movie was true. This was we were talking in the break room about, I asked how old everybody was. And,
of course, I was 10.
Yeah. I was 18.
Yeah.
So, and what, Alan, you were -6?
Yes, I was -6 years old.
There you go. But see how we've inspired that next generation, though. See, that next generation that wasn't alive during that time is inspired. So that's what our job is to do. The people that were alive, like we were, you at 18, me at 10, we're able to carry that on for the next 100 years.
What's interesting here is Huntsville played such a huge role in this.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And our celebration, I mean, in the pecking order, this is going to be, I guess, the biggest one.
Yeah,
right?
Well, yeah, they're looking, even with the Alabama, of course, today's Alabama, we've been hearing the news, Alabama's 199th birthday, but the next year will be the 200th birthday for Alabama, so that combined will bring in 1 million people to
who
this
spend
area.
money.
Yeah, spend money.
So it's an economic impact
That's
as well.
That's exactly right. So there, as you notice, they've got the crane out to paint the Saturn V, so that's about a 4-month process. So they're going to spend some money doing that and dress up the park. So we're getting ready. This is, and I guess the state's allocated some money or is this donations or how we? Well, it's a combination. There's people. I'm trying to raise money, through some of the artwork that I do, to be auctioned off to, put money for the Saturn V painting because that's going to cost a big dollars there.
So people who don't know Scott Shuttleman Phillips, and I don't know how you couldn't because he's everywhere. You were the last guy out of the last. On the last mission, Apollo.
Well, actually, I was the last guy out of the first shuttle mission.
The first shuttle mission.
Yeah, and before Bob Crimmins and John Young flew, I was 22 years old. Okay. I came out of the external tank before they flew. We were replacing what we call the eco sensors, the level sensors, and I was the last man coming out, and I pulled the remove before flight ribbon. So I became known as Shuttleman.
So and you wrote a book about your experience.
Absolutely.
And so the shuttle lives on basically.
Well, I'm trying to keep the legacy. I carved the shuttle models for the returning shuttle crews. I did 450 shuttle models, space shuttle models out of exotic woods, and so that legacy continues on because they bobble up now and then, and some astronauts do call me to leave a legacy for their family. So
they're going, hey, I really like these. Could you make me one?
Well, they saw them during the program, and so it made it easy.
It's tell the moon this is fascinating to me. And for you, you're a wood guy, so it even makes it even more special. Explain this whole thing about the moon tree.
Okay, the moon tree. Okay, well, if you remember the history on Apollo 14 back in 1971, the astronaut Stu Roosa that went to the moon was a smoke jumper. In other words, he worked with the forestry department, and before he became an astronaut. Well, he wanted to honor the forestry department, of course, the American people, by taking up 400 to 500 tree seeds. And they consisted of redwoods, sycamores, loplolly pine, and sweet gum. So when they brought them back, most of them didn't germinate, but they germinated one at the White House and one at Ivy Green for Helen Keller, but they did plant a sycamore tree at the Kennedy Space Center, not only to honor their flight, but also to honor the 200th anniversary of America.
And it germinated.
And so the tree grew to maturity through those years, and unfortunately for some, but fortunately for me as a woodhound, Irma, the storm last year in Florida, knocked the tree down. So they traditionally mulch those, what they call first-generation moon trees, And so I was kind of sad about that, and I thought, well, that's the way that goes. And anyhow, I get a call a month later, and since my reputation for carving those shuttle models was known through the industry, the center director called me and said they saved a 24-inch log for me to carve the 50th anniversary of the moon landing.
350 pound.
300. Wow.
Yeah, so
chunk of wood.
yeah, there you go.
And I just got my picture taken, Scotticus, with the stump.
Oh, there you go.
I have a photo with the moon tree stump.
There you go.
That's going in the archives, man.
Soon to be turned into what we thought, being philosophical. The fact is you were even saying, I was on the drive, and you're saying, the gender changing going on around, and the things that we see that are changing around us, like political wills and political environments.
Yeah, we're getting a little nutty.
But here's what we're going to do: is I have the commander over here, musician commander right over here, Alan Little, is going to carry on our legacy through music. That is universal, and that will continue on for the next 500 years. So the next generation will make their own music, but Commander over here is going to herd that and going to command that for the next 500 years. All
right, we're going to hear from Alan. Alan Little, he's got a song he'll introduce us to, and Scott Shuttleman Phillips. And that moon stump, I guess we call it now. More on that coming up. Well, Alan Little is, you play well, buddy. Anyway, we thought we'd do a litall piece here. All right, so you have explain this whole songwriting competition first.
Yeah,
and then what you've done to contribute to it, because as you had mentioned before, you can't compete because you got kind of a conflict of interest, right? But that didn't keep you from writing a song.
Yeah, so of course, have known Scott for years through my brother, and I've run a singer-songwriter program called Listen Local Huntsville, where we feature North Alabama singer-songwriters to kind of showcase the talent that we've got here in town. And so that's our friendship, and that fact why Scott came to me and said, "Hey, let's do a songwriting competition." So it's going to have
the moon landing.
Yeah, to commemorate it. So and I'm born and raised here, and I know that there's not many of us out here, but I've always taken giant great pride in being from this particular area, Huntsville, because we're the most responsible.
There's not a lot of locals,
There's not. I think with the friends that I've got, I think more of them are not from here than they are from here.
Oh, it's amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's a neat dynamic. But so we wanted to. Scott presented that to me. Let's host a songwriting competition. Is this something Listen Local Huntsville would be interested in? And without any thought, absolutely, of course, yes, we'll do this. We'll figure this out, and so that's what we've been doing. So this
is one of those where you say yes, and then you're going to go, okay, now what are we going to do?
yes, we'll do this. We'll figure it out later. But anyhow, I was so inspired that I wrote a song. I began writing this song pretty much after my brother gave me the concept, the message from Scott. I shot him a text. I'm like, yes, the answer's yes. The answer's yes. Let's do this. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? All my songwriting friends and my musician friends, we all need a moon song, So
you have a moon song.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping that my friends will do this.
Before we get to your song, as far as the competition goes, shocked at where the entries have come from and that kind of thing?
Well, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. We haven't made the giant push and the launch yet. We're setting up for that.
Okay, so nobody's inquired yet.
Yes, so, some of the musicians in town, yes, songwriters in town.
Anybody from anywhere else?
Yes, it's going to be open to anyone, so it can be national.
Anywhere in the world.
We just have, Perhaps, yeah.
But it's a national, even though it's okay. So we want
With a very
more
regional.
Americans.
That's right. But it's very a very regional push. A very regional push. We're going to be doing more push for regional competition than we are anything else. It's going to be welcome to anyone that's outside of our area. But we believe that song that we're looking for, that one song, lives in Huntsville, lives in North Alabama.
The one thing people don't think about is the music aspect of the moon landing. All right, so this is the song. What's it called?
This one's called Double Dog Daredevil. How do you like alliteration?
I'm processing that one.
Yeah, Double Dog Daredevil. It goes like this. It's Double Dog Daredevil. So. She's gonna calculate my numbers. She's gonna seal my fate. I've got a date with the sky and then the moon, and I can't be late. I'm a young fighter jet pilot, damn near back from the war. I like to race my Corvette and push the envelope just a little more. 'Cause I wanna be a spaceman, wanna go higher than any other man. Want a silver spacesuit and some moon boots, crash helmet and a big tin can. I wanna be a double dog daredevil headed on up to the sky. Live like a comic book hero that's not afraid to die or fly high. 400,000 strong, they've been towing the line, and I'm hanging on like a tether. They're gonna make me float like a feather. So tell me, how is the weather? The sky is clear and we're right on pace. T-minus 10 seconds now. Let's light this candle and leave this place. 'Cause mama, I'm a spaceman, I'm going higher than any other man. Got a silver spacesuit in my moon boots, crash helmet, and a big tin can. I'm a double dog daredevil heading on up to the sky. Living like a comic book hero that's not afraid to die or fly high. Got no problems, Houston, but while I've got you on the phone, could you tell my family and friends that it won't be long before I'm home? 'Cause I've gone to tell Galileo the stellar parallax is real, and that I'm sailing alone in my Santa Maria. Did Chris know how it feels to be a spaceman? Sailing in the sky or out at sea. And if I live or die, they're gonna remember me. The white lab coat's talking in the hallway. It's about me, I presume. Wondering if I've got the right stuff, if I'll make it back from the moon. And I'm following a chimpanzee that just brought back home safe and sound. Now I'm just a ball of fire, I'm headed back to my familiar ground. Mama, I'm a spaceman, I'm going higher than any other man. I got a silver spacesuit and some moon boots, crash helmet, and a big tin can. And mama, I'm a double dog daredevil headed on up to the sky. Living like a comic book hero that's not afraid to die or fly high. La 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 la.
So I would say the gauntlet has been laid down for you songwriters. Wow, that's awesome, Alan.
Man, thanks,
that
man.
was
I appreciate it.
Love the. I'm sitting here looking at the finger work there, and then I'm going, but the lyrics are awesome too.
Well, thanks
so
much,
anyway,
man.
nice job.
Thanks. It was
really
a fun ride. I enjoyed writing that.
So it kind of captures the whole kind of thing, all the pieces that go into in a song.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
A lot of that came from the movies that I've seen and stories that I've heard and family and friends that we've known that have worked with NASA and hearing things. That's a lot of kind of came from everything.
Right, we have a space cat over here too. She's wanting to get into the act. Anyway, more of the song competition, and wow, if it all sounds like this, good Lord, is it going to be tough? More with Alan Little and Scott Shuttleman Phillips. It's the 50th anniversary. Where am I? 50th anniversary of the moon landing. We're going to be celebrating it in this coming year, along with the Alabama Bicentennial. More with these guys coming up. Scott Shuttleman Phillips is, he's been involved in promoting NASA for a long time, and he's just all wrapped up in this. This is your life now, the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing and the moon tree. I want to get to that again. And Alan Little, local songwriter and musician, who's, I guess I would say, thrown down the gauntlet for people who want to get in this song competition, although yours is not going to be allowed in it because you're too close to because you're running the thing. But it is one of those things where I didn't know. I remember Scott mentioning this, but so folks understand the music aspect of this and the moon tree go together, because Scott, there's going to that's what the wood from this piece of the tree that you got.
That's exactly
is going to make you're going to make a guitar out of it.
Yeah, we here again. The thought process was when I was given the log. I had to come up with the idea of what we were going to do with it, and I thought I went to bed with a conundrum, and I usually do that, but I woke up with the thought of music from the moon. So with that theme, we moved forward to the contracting C.F. Martin Guitar in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, which is the oldest guitar company in the world, and they helped me out several years ago with the ending of the shuttle program. With their first American guitar space exhibit that I did some work for them. So Mr. Martin is going to do this guitar for us, and so
out of wood from the moon tree.
Right, I've got this tree stump that we're going to cut up, and we're going to turn it into this most beautiful guitar that CF's ever done for in the space program. So he loves the milestone, and if you remember, Woodstock happened about a month later after we landed on the moon. So it's going to be in conjunction with the 50th anniversary of Woodstock also. So that made it interesting, not only the moon wood for them, but the Woodstock element too. So we're very excited. I'm going next month to CF for the preliminary design review for the guitar, and then it won't be complete until Alan plays it. He'll be the first one to play it. I'm going to announce that today. I'll pick it up.
So did you know that? Did you know you're going to be I'm announcing
man.
today
I appreciate that
Alan, a little commander of the song competition, will be the first one to play the moon guitar. And so I'm going to announce that today. So I'm going to tickle. I will tickle the strings a little bit myself.
Oh, you've got to.
But you will perform that double dog on that.
So
that's exciting. Man.
So this
Thanks.
could have been. You could have said, "Oh, well, I'll just make a whole bunch of medallions." And sell them for some fundraiser, or I can carve some more shuttles. But you decided to do something totally different.
Well, the thing is what are we going to say to the next generation, the people that aren't born 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, that aren't even born today? How do we want to tell our story as we move further away from us? You were 18, I was 10. As we're gone, as we go, how do we want to tell the next society, the next generation, what we accomplished on the moon? We want to inspire. It's all about inspiration. I think music, and I'm going to tell, and I said this yesterday, I said, wood rots, but words last forever. And so the music will sing on long after they've been written. And we're listening to music from Bach and all these folks 500-600 years later. So we're inspired by them. So we want to inspire the next generations through music. And Alan is the person that's going to lead that, and I'm very honored to be associated with his talent.
There was other stuff beyond and the songwriting thing is going to be interesting because I guess every genre, right?
Yeah, so
that's going to be interesting, right?
Yes, we do have rules that are kind of set out there. We're having a guitar made. We're not having an accordion made. So the rule is it can be a duo if you've got somebody in the video that you submit that's there has to be an element of guitar in there.
Okay,
that's
the only rule, right?
We're not having this guitar built for nothing.
Okay,
it's like that's a pretty piano piece, and look at this guitar. Sorry, nobody's here to play it. We're not going to have that.
We're not doing that one,
right?
Because you're a guitar guy.
Right. First guitar in space was a Martin guitar.
Really?
If you want to tie in the extra interest that Martin has in this,
right?
It was a backpacker.
That's right. In 1994 on SGS 62. In fact, Diane and I were launch honorees during that time because we just got married. So I used it for our honeymoon. So I remember when they took up the backpacker, and that's how I got associated with Martin to build a shuttle model for that exhibit. Of course, it is in their museum at Nazareth, Pennsylvania today. So this is going to be little elements like this, and I say little because it's a huge celebration, and I don't want to belittle it, Mr. Little. But this is like the cherry on top of the whole celebration, right? Just all these layers of. We're celebrating the moon landing. We're celebrating the walk on the moon. We're celebrating Huntsville's part in it. And then you add this cool little thing that ripples through it, the music element of it. I mean, this is going to be fun for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we aim to. Absolutely. I don't see how it can't be, So everybody likes music.
So what about, all right, so I want to get back to you, Alan, you growing up here.
Yes, sir.
Scott, you're a foreigner just like I am.
Yeah.
But having grown up here around this, you either, I guess, embrace it or reject it, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I embrace it. I totally embrace it. I've got, we all have some type of natives here of Huntsville always have some type of tie. One of my ties to my love and for all of this, my grandmother taught Warner von Braun's kids in her at-home kindergarten class. Right over here on Fraser Avenue. My brother lives in the house now. So it's neat. He used to, Warner von Braun used to grocery shop over at Big Brothers.
Oh, wow.
Where,
little stories people know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
where Los Mariachis
community.
is.
Right. Well, I remember when I first came here, and this is what I called my mom, and I said, I'm coming to an interesting place.
Yeah.
I'm walking in the old mall, and there's an older couple walking down through the mall, and I'm walking behind them, and they're holding hands, and they're speaking German.
Yeah.
And I'm going, where have I just come? Because I was kind of, even though I did all this stuff and knew about the moon landing and saved all this stuff from when I was watching the teletype that night, I never really understood Huntsville's connection to it until I got here.
Right.
And then I start seeing all these things, and you start connecting all these dots. And I have neighbors whose, husbands were part of the rocket team that came from White Sands. And I'm
absolutely.
I just go, whoa! And I keep talking to people, and we get Ed Buckby in here talking about the origin, the beginnings of the Space and Rocket Center, and you say the history of all of this is just so awesome.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
But
it's bigger than a lot of people realize,
So Werner von Braun shopped at the old Big Brothers. That's
right.
I'll remember that one.
Right. He did.
That's funny. Yep. Scott, this is, and this goes back to you're from Ohio, so you end up in Huntsville.
Yeah.
Spending some time because of the propulsion stuff being done here. Spent a lot of time at the Cape, and I guess down in Louisiana too. You kind of got around, right?
Yeah, I did.
But why'd you end up staying here?
Well, I met my wife here, And of course, I have my 2 boys here.
Now, is she a native?
And, she's actually from Michigan. So I actually had
so they're both foreigners.
Yeah, I had to move south to marry a northern girl. But anyhow, we just love it. It's so diverse. And, of course, my career was here out at the Marshall Space Flight Center. That's where I was home based out of. So, that kept me here. And of course, my father started a business here. And, of course, he's gone now, but my sister has that business. So I was raised in a family business here. And we came here when I was young. So this is home to me. I can't imagine going anywhere else. But talking about the moon landing, where I was born 80 miles north of Wapakoneta, home of Neil Armstrong. So we were inspired.
It was destined to be.
It was a serendipitous route, but the reality of it is when Neil did, Ohio man landed on the moon, the Ohio kids just went crazy, and we all drew Saturn V's, at school and everything. So, but to get in the space program, years in was about 10 years later. Serendipitously, I got in the shuttle program. So I love the legacy that the Von Braun team left, and had an opportunity to meet some of those folks before they passed on. And so the legacy is tremendous here, and I just love it. I love history. I'm a history guy.
All right, more. Yeah, me too. We could get bogged down in a lot of stuff, and people go, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah.
More with Alan Little and also Scott Shuttleman Phillips. We're going to talk a little bit about the big 50th anniversary and some other aspects of it coming up. Scott Shuttleman Phillips and Alan Little both with us. Alan, local songwriter and performer, and did the song called Double Dog Daredevil, which you can find on YouTube. You can find a number of places.
Yes, my Alan Little Music page on Facebook has it. You can also go to Tonewood Amp, their page, which is the device that I play on the back of my guitar. They shared the video of me singing that song yesterday, so it's on their page too. So
it's just get rolling here.
Yeah.
Scott, I want to get to, there's a lot going on with this celebration. You're involved in the planning stages. I want to get kind of an overview, because we've talked a lot about some aspects of it, but I want to get kind of an overview of this, how huge, even on an international scale, this big celebration is in Huntsville and in Alabama. Mm-hmm. More on the 50th anniversary of the moon landing coming up. Alan Little, local songwriter and artist, and Scott Shuttleman Phillips. Remove Before Flight is his claim to fame. One of them.
Yeah, there you go.
I want Scott, you're on the committee to kind of help put all this together.
Right.
Well, give us some idea how, outside of Huntsville, how big a deal is this?
Well, I mean, it's going to be, of course, in the early planning stages here. I think Huntsville is way ahead of the game, even at the Kennedy Space Center. But, of course, they're predicting 1 million people. So they'll start kicking that off after the first of the year in 2019. When the date starts to turn, 2019, that's when speakers will come out, firsthand stories. Of course, you mentioned Ed Buckby earlier. Ed is going to be doing some talks, free to the public. But, the real big day, the real big time that we're looking at is going to be the boost phase, which was July 16th. That's when the Saturn V actually did its job and got manned to the moon. So Huntsville, a U.S. Space and Rocket, is working toward that month of July, which will showcase, the songs and the things that we're going to do. And we're going to have the most rocket launches. We're going to try to break the Guinness Book of World Record on launching students with bottle rocket type things. And here again, we got the speakers, and we got some astronauts coming in that actually did walk on the moon. So there'll be opportunities there for book signing. In fact, I'm going to do a book signing after, more into August, September. They're going to honor the shuttle folks. So I'm going to actually be displaying some of my artwork later. But here again, to answer your question, 1 million people are going to be treated to something very spectacular. Anything out of the blue that's kind of an inquiry, or just somebody wanting to contribute something? Anything just right out of the blue going, wow, didn't think of that one? Well, they've got a guest list of people, and so there's all kinds of celebrities, people that are well known. I'm not going to divulge that, but there'll be, so if you may told us you'd have to kill us. Well, the thing is you'll be walking through the park, celebrating. You'll see Steven Spielberg, possibly. I'm not saying he's going to be there, but people like people throwing names out. Well, there you go, people. But you're going to see people. But you're going to see people. You're going to see people. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of people that are putting on the list, and certainly C.F. Martin is going to get an invitation, and he's going to see his guitar being used. And the beautiful thing about the guitar is we're going to play the guitar on the 51st, 52nd, 53rd, 54th, and 55th anniversaries. So we're going to play it every year to honor the moon landing, and then when our generation is gone, then we pass it on. Then when we'll pass it on to the next generation. So
this is going to. There's a lot going into this.
Oh yeah,
a lot of volunteers, a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But imagine a million people are going to come for that's a lot of. They're
going to hear double dog. They're going to hear double dog. A million people are going to hear double dog.
That's a lot of people eating in restaurants. That's a nice
exactly
boost.
Right. That's right.
And we've come a long way. You guys both. I think when I came here in '77. It was one of those things where the Apollo program had just wound down.
That's right.
And they were rolling up the sidewalks.
That's
man.
exactly
You thought
right.
this city was dead.
Yeah.
And look at where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just keeps reinventing itself.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
And now you have this, from its, and you still have that native flavor. You still hear stories like Werner von Braun shopping at Big Brothers. I will never forget that now, Alan.
Every time you drive by Los Mariachis, you're going to envision
Well, it's a
him
Mexican
there.
restaurant now. It was a Brazilian restaurant before that, but it was a grocery store before that.
That's right. Wonder Run shop there.
There you go.
That's
there
right.
You go.
It's kind of like saying if you go down to the corner where the old red barn used to be, you turn right back those horrible directions people used to give, and you go, huh?
Right.
Guys, Alan, much success with, again, Double Dog Daredevil. You can find it on YouTube, and I'm sure we're going to hear it some more. Scott will get you in, talk some more about the moon tree and the celebration, and wow, the stump. I got my picture taken with a stump, guys.
There you go.
The stump.
There you go.
The one that's left. Anyway.
That's right.
All right.
And you got a piece of the bark, too.
I did.
Yeah.
I got a little piece of the tree.
Yeah.
All right, guys, great. Hey, great seeing you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Congratulations
thanks for
on
having us.
everything so far.
All right.
Yeah,
See you next
thanks
year.
a bunch.